How can young Nigerians effectively seize the opportunity of engaging in politics in order to elect good political leaders in the next set of elections in 2023? For answers to these and more, we are now being joined by Aisha Yesufu, a human rights activist and advocate for good governance and societal regeneration. Good morning, Aisha. Good to have you join us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Good morning. Thank you. You're welcome. Twitter is back, and we are inching closer to 2023. What are your thoughts? A lot of people are saying, well, for 7 months that we were out of Twitter, it's bad PR for the government. But then government is saying that they have succeeded in negotiating well for the country and hopefully in making good money for the country. But is everybody happy now? Are you happy that Twitter is back? And how can we utilize this platform better, especially now that politics is hotting up?
Thank you so much for having me. First of all, I do not allow an incompetent government, and those are my words, Aisha Yesufu. And if NBC has any issues with that, they should call me and not have anything to do with Arise TV. And I do not want an incompetent government be the one to set the tone of what I speak about. So I'm not going to talk about any ban. I've said that before. I'm going to talk about the issue of competent Nigerians getting into office. And I think that's what the discussion should be about. Thank you.
That's fine, Aisha. I mean, I know you and I respect your opinion. Competence, how do you define that from the angle of youth, for example? And of course, I will always return to the issue of platforms, not only Twitter, but social media platforms that are necessary at this point, you know, to engage the populace. If you look at the statistics, more than 51% of eligible voters, those who voted in 2019, and of course, definitely those who will vote next year, are youth. The youth population is huge. If they play their cards right, it looks like they have the wherewithal to turn the election around. NSAS was a good example of what the youth can do. But then from your own assessment, how will competent candidates emerge, and what roles do you think that the youth should play in using social media platforms to engage better?
Thank you very much. And I think one of the things that need to happen is for the youth of Nigeria to understand that they can do it. Everything starts from the mindset. And so that mindset shift, it's needed. A lot of people tell the youth, Nigerian youth, that they should participate in politics. I said, no, they already participate in politics. They are the movers and drivers of politics. They are the ones who practically do everything, from the good, the bad, and the ugly, from getting things done. Whatever it is that needs to be done, they are there. The Nigerian youth have shown it, even during NSAS. They have the capacity, they have the intelligence, they have the wherewithal, they have technology, they have social media, they have networking capacity. Social media has democratized media, and that is what government does not want. The situation where when we were youth, what we normally had was that the government would just tell us what they want to tell us, and we would not be able to speak back. But with social media, people can also have their voices, they can speak back, they can set the agenda, they can set the issue, and the government is forced to either react to the issue or take on the issue. So coming on the issue of a political power or political platform or political issues, everybody must be a political activist at this stage, especially the youth. You're either running for office because you're competent, you have character, you have capacity, or you're campaigning for those who are running for office, who are competently running for office, or you're helping them to raise funds, or you're holding those who are in office accountable. One thing must be done. Sitting down and thinking that it's none of my business is not going to work. And the youth must understand that right now they have seen that government policies affect every aspect of our lives. And most times people do not understand the relationship between politics relationship between governance and their lives, and relationship between politics and governance. We need to fix politics to be able to fix Nigeria. We need to have good people engage in politics. This issue of thinking that, politics is only for bad people, or if you participate in politics, you sell out, it has to stop. And so coming together and working together, not just youth, we have women, we have Nigerians in diaspora also. They can play an amazing role. They contribute already economically to the nation, but they have zero political power, and they can call the influence of of the economic power that they have and use it to ensure that people are voted, the right people are voted into office. When we are talking about youth, it's not just your age. Age is just one of them. The most important thing is that competence, is the capacity, is the character, is the empathy, is the courage, is the patriotism, and these are qualities that Nigerians should begin to ask for. But I will round up by saying that Nigerians, not just the youth, every citizen, Nigerian citizens, should not sit down for the politicians to tell them who they want. There's a time for us now to begin to have people's convention. The people should be telling the parties, these are the people that we want. It's either you give them the ticket, or wherever they go to, we will follow the ticket. We will follow the person to that party and vote for the person. The issue of looking at parties has to stop now. We must vote candidates instead of party. And we must ensure that we are giving the right person, so that when they go in there and they do not do the right thing, it's a matter of not enabling their bad behavior and voting them out.
To highlight what you just said, People's Convention, right? Now it's political season. We have seen declaration by certain individuals who many have described as usual suspects. We have Bola Tinubu, David Umahi, Ozzy Uzokalu. Now, what do you make of their declaration and how it affects the participation of other competent candidates?
Nature abhors vacuum, and if good people don't come out, anyhow people will come out. So it's competent people don't come out. The ones that are not competent will come out, because, of course, nature, like I said earlier, abhors vacuum. And so there needs to be a shift where we are waiting to endorse. Because what we have in Nigeria currently is not election. What we have is endorsement. We allow parties to do the selection. They give us whoever they give us. We sit down and we begin to say, oh, let's pick lesser of the evil. We have seen from 2015 to now that lesser of the evil, when lesser of the evil gets into power, it becomes monstrous evil. So there's no need of choosing from lesser of the evil. What we Nigerians should be doing is choosing from the best amongst the best. And we must put our best foot forward. I mean, AFCON is going on. Nigerians are happy. People are excited. Nigeria is our team is winning and everything. If we had carried the 1994 winning team and brought those members to play this football match, would they be winning? No, they wouldn't. And so it is time for, at every time, when it comes to politics also, when it comes to governance, we must choose the best amongst all. But then the best one must be ready to come out, and we also must be ready to say that we will be with the best. What we have right now in Nigeria is that it's about money. And politics is about money, no doubt about it. And the thing is that if we expect that candidates will be the ones to spend their own money, then those who have looted our country dry will be the ones to continue to perpetuate themselves in office or perpetuate their stooges. And so what we the people must do is that we must donate our time or our money. If you don't have money, donate time. You must have one of each, right? So we must donate our time. We must put our monies where our votes are and ensure that we are donating to the campaign force of people, competent people who are running it for office. These are people who didn't steal. These are people who had done, who would have done well wherever they had been before. And then we help them get into office. And when they get into office, they know that we were the ones that voted for them, not their political power brokers, giving them the opportunity to be there, and then they serve them. Just to round up, I'll say a lot of people come out today to say we have a rubber-stamped National Assembly. How wouldn't we have a rubber-stamped National Assembly? The members of the National Assembly know that they were not voted for. They were just endorsed. It was their parties. If they had not run under the tickets of their parties, they would 99.9% of them wouldn't have gotten in there. So their loyalty is not to us, the people. It's for those that gave them the party tickets. And that's why when things are happening, and it goes across the whole legislative arm, both the National Assembly and State Houses of Assembly. We, the people, need to get the power back. We need to put our monies where our votes are. We need to be ready to donate our time. We need to be ready to sacrifice. We need to be ready to donate our money. We need to be ready to stop sitting down in our houses and just talking and complaining and allow other people come to set the agenda for us. I'm not going to discuss any candidates that are for me. They're not going to set agenda for me to discuss. I would rather be with the people, look out for our candidates, bring them forward and say, these are the people we want in office, and dare to go after them. And Nigeria should always understand that parties don't have structures. The people are the structures. And if we do like network marketing, the way they do network marketing in our network voting, we'll be able to carry it. Or the most important thing we need to believe is to dare. Our mindset needs to be shifted to that of winning rather than that of accepting situations the way they are.
Of this conversation, you've talked about competence, and you've talked about you not having any confidence in popular candidates. You just say you don't really want to talk about specific candidates, but I do want to ask you, when you talk about political activism and the good things about it, you have to first believe in the power of voting. I'm sure you do. But in your activism, I wonder if you feel as though you hold any responsibility for the levels of voter apathy. When you only hear negative things about the people in power, it naturally puts a pressure on somebody. Perhaps my vote doesn't count. Maybe my one vote really won't make a difference, so maybe I shouldn't go to the polls. Do you think your activism contributes to voter apathy?
Okay, so first of all, like for me, I like to see myself as an active citizen, not really as an activist. So active citizen simply means that I'm tired of being silenced and I'm going to participate in whatever is happening in our country. And so when you say, when they talk about I can't remember the term specifically you use now, but the wrong things that they're doing. It's not about they talk about the wrong things they're doing. It's about they are doing the wrong things. So if people are calling out and say that the wrong things are being done, how is that good? I'm trying to get the correlation between somebody coming out to say that the wrong things shouldn't be done and that making people not want to vote. I don't think there's a correlation, but I would love to see, maybe you explain it to me more later. The thing about apathy is the fact that people, there's a big lie that has been sold. And this big lie is that votes don't count. And the question I always ask is, if votes don't count, why do politicians buy votes? These are people that would never want to spend money anyhow. They always want to keep things, the ones that we've seen, the kind of politicians we see in Nigeria. The fact that they go out to buy this vote definitely says to you that votes count. But the thing they do is that there is a missing elite. They know there are the educated ones, the elites, those ones that they can't buy their votes. So they use this narrative of votes don't count to keep them away from the ballot, from the polling units. And so when they keep them away from the polling units, they now have undivided access to those whom they know they can buy their votes. And so when they come in, they buy those votes and then they get in. Remember that illiteracy has been weaponized. And I always say that democracy without education is a disaster. Also remember that poverty has been weaponized. And so people are hungry, people are dying. And most people in Nigeria, because of that illiteracy, there's no education. There's not even political education. There are a lot of people who have certificates. Most of us are literate, but we are not really educated. We practically most people collected the certificate from school and left the education in school. So they do not realize that relationship between governance and their life. So they sell off their votes, which makes it easy. Votes count, votes matter. And when people come out to vote, they can't rig the election. What happens is that whenever people are registered, the INEC will send, the umpire will send the number of registered, the ballot papers, the number of registered, right? So if people don't vote, you have them there that people are going to use. That's what they will have access to thumbprint and do all sorts of things. But the more the people come out and the more the people vote, there's nothing really that they're going to, extra ones that they're going to use to thumbprint. And they're not going to intimidate anyone. When you see a lot of people there, it's harder to intimidate them. So I really don't get the correlation between activism or being an active citizen and pointing out the things that are wrong in the society.
Because if you criticize the candidates that are already available without mentioning or talking about candidates that you do support, people that you do see potential in, then people feel as though there is no alternative to the status quo. So if you don't want to talk about the candidates that you believe in, surely the idea you have to criticize the politics and the politicians that we do have would contribute to people not wanting to vote. Because if you don't share your information or share your endorsements or share people who you do think would do a good job, people have no alternative. So if you've made a huge platform criticizing the government that you already have, for better or for worse, people may not think that there'll be any difference if they go to the votes if they go to the ballots in 2023 and it's still the same candidates. So I'm just asking you whether or not you will start talking positively about the candidates, naming their names so people can associate Aisha Yesufu and her platform with somebody in politics that they should vote for. That's what I'm saying. If the criticism is valid, but if you don't have a candidate in mind, surely people might think that there's no point in voting anyway.
So like I'm sitting down here, so I'm thinking, are we having this conversation or there's a conversation we've had before? Because I haven't spoken about any candidate. Like when I came here, I said I wasn't even going to talk. Yeah, exactly. So hold on, let me just answer, because I haven't spoken about anyone right now. I haven't criticized anyone. All the people that have declared, as far as I'm concerned, they are not going to set the agenda for me. I'm not going to talk about anybody. I'm not going to talk about, I don't see who I'm going to talk about, right? So that's one. I get where you're coming from in terms of, oh, who are the candidates? For me, Aisha Yesufu, I'm not going to say to people, these are who the candidates are. I don't know who the candidates are. What I'm looking for, I can tell you characteristics that I'm looking for. Because one of the things we must understand as Nigerians is that, first of all, there is no one person that, this is the person that does everything for you. What we need to do is that there are certain criteria we should be looking for in leaders. And these are the things that's why I'm asking for, we need to have this people's convention for people to first of all understand that, oh, what do you need in a leader? You need empathy. You need somebody who cares about you. And for example, the youth, I would say to them, look around during NSAS protests. Who were the people that were there when it was uncomfortable to be with you? Who were the people that identified with you, that stayed with you, that fought with you? And who were the ones that gave lip service, that just dropped one tweet or the other, or one social media post, so that they will have history of saying that, oh, we said something? Who were the people who went to the president? They were looking for endorsement for their own career growth, but they didn't bother that you were being killed on the streets. Who are the people who were smooshing with the government and not saying anything? You understand? So these are some of the, so that's empathy. That's the people who care for you. Who are the people who know, no matter what, if you are in trouble, they have your back? Who are the people that, you know, they want you to be at the position that they are in, and not that they want you to be perpetually down where they can ride on you? What are people who are competent, who have character, who you know that even if you leave your money with them and you turn your back, they will not touch that money? These are characteristics, not that we are looking for names. Because for me, like what you're asking me now, you're asking me to do the same old thing. So I come out now because, oh, Aisha, I now have a small voice. Then I'll now be telling people, oh, come, I will endorse you. No, I don't endorse candidates. If at the end of the day, when we come out, hold on. So when we get the candidate, first of all, can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead, please.
Oh, okay, yeah. So first of all, what we need to have now is for people, it's education. Let me say something. We have to realize that for everybody, I always say this, the education that we have is not for us alone. It's for millions of others who didn't have the opportunity to be educated. And at this moment, we all must be political educators. We must talk to people. There's something I call circle of influence. The people around us, the woman that is selling ugu, that man that is selling suya, a cobbler, the one that is cleaning, the one that is cooking your house, your staff, your village people. People talk about grassroots. We are all from grassroots. Talk to them. Let them know what leadership is all about. Let them know what the characteristics is all about. Empower them with the knowledge rather than coming to say, oh, this is my one person. That's why you have this political entrepreneurship. Every election season, you have people who will come and say, oh, I can give you 5 million votes. I can give you 10 million votes. No. What's the difference between you? And the kind of leaders we have. You want to control people. No, people should, I'm very focused on, and that is where I'm going for 2023. And I've said it before, my main focus is the legislative arm of government. I'm going to come to that. It's for people to understand that they have the power, and these are the characteristics they should look for and get this thing. And what I'm saying right now is that let the people choose who are the people that they know can work for them. Because what we have mostly is that people will say, oh, I don't want to waste my vote. Because Nigerians, let me just put out this analogy. You know, when we all have our clubs, right? I mean, Man U fan, Man U for life. We all have our clubs. And we irrespective of whether they are winning or losing, we're there, and we want them to always win. Many people think that politics is like that, so they want to be on the winning team. And irrespective of whether the candidate is good or not, they just feel that, oh, this is the party that is most likely to win. Let me just put it there so that I will say my vote was amongst the winning vote. And they feel that if they vote for the person they know can do the work, who probably they feel is not in a stronger party or something like that, or whatever, the person will win. That is a waste in itself, because you're already voting for somebody you know cannot. Then you be doing the lesser evil. We've done lesser evil before. It hasn't worked, because people right now really don't have the capacity to be able to make demands, because making demands is really the other side of governance, apart from the supply from those who have voted in. So when people understand the fact that it is we, the people, that have the structure, and we, the people, that can say that these are the candidates we want across board, not just the executive. For me personally, 2023, I am more interested in the legislative arm of government. Who are the people we are voting into the state houses of assembly? Who are the people we are voting into the National Assembly? The legislative arm of government, they have the oversight function. They are the ones who make laws, and they also hold government executive accountable. They do so much. People are yearning for a new constitution. You don't need a president to give you a new constitution. The legislative arm of government will give you a new constitution. People are asking for resource control. People are asking of regionalism, whatever. All of these things, they lie in the hands of the legislative arm of government. That is the bedrock of democracy. But most times, we don't even bother about them. We only focus on the executive arm. So coming back to your question, for me is that, first of all, is for people to understand what kind of leaders are they deserving of? Deserving of transformative leaders, servant leaders that are not going to go there and feel that they are employers. They know that they are employees. When we understand that, then they look around them to begin to say, okay, these are the people they know can do this work. And every community should be able to identify these leaders for themselves. And then they bring them forward and they say to the political parties, these are the people that we want. Because the Nigerians should be the one dictating. That's the shift I want us to have. Dictating to the political parties, not the political parties bringing up who they want. When you say these are the ones who want, if you don't give them this ticket, wherever they go, we'll follow them. And if people are able to have a block vote, organize themselves, and they vote these people, you know what will happen? The political, and I say it, and I say this here today, there is no political party in Nigeria that does not have competent candidates that have character and capacity. The problem we have is that most time, those ones are not given the party ticket, because the people, the power brokers, do not want them to come. They know when they come, they're not going to give them room to do all the shenanigans that they normally do. So until we, the people, until Nigerians, the citizens, give them incentive, the parties incentive for them to bring forth the competent members amongst them, they will not bring them, for they'll keep giving us the incompetent members. And that's the shift that we need to have as Nigerians.
All right, Aisha, but thanks for bringing in the football part. At least we know that you are, also a fan of football. But I have a strong guess that a majority of the Nigerian youth prefer the blue color to the red that you are associated with. But that's okay. I also hope that you are supporting at least a Nigerian club, as it were. But my question to you is, if you're not rooting for anybody or any set of politicians at this time, are you planning, peradventure, to run yourself? You said you have a special interest in the legislature. Are you hoping to run to be a lawmaker, Aisha?
In this 2023 election, absolutely not. In the next 10 years, even if I'm going to run or anything like that, that will be in the next 10 years. You heard it from me here. I'm not running. My most important, what I'm focused on for 2023 election is getting candidates with competence, character, capacity, empathy, courage, patriotism into the legislative arm of government and across Nigeria. And for me, that's the thing I'm devoting my time to. I don't even care where you are from, whatever you believe in, whether you have religion or you don't have religion, as long as you have the things that are needed for good leadership. Come and be that, take that leadership position. And for me, it's about the legislative arm. On the issue of the executive, of course, when the people decide these are the people they want at the end of the day, because they're just starting, who are you going with? At the end of the day, you have the crop of, these are the ones with the party tickets, because we don't have independent candidacy. So the party ones will now know from there. For me, it will be who is the most competent, who has the most empathy. There are certain criteria that I'm going to look at, and I will make my choice on that. And of course, there will be at the end of the day, I will have a candidate that will say, okay, this is the one. But right now, I don't have any. There is none that has come out, and I'm hoping that we'll work together with the people. For me, I'm not interested in the parties now. I'm interested in the people coming out to say, these are the people they want to run, and then we will go on from there.
Well, on that note, Aisha, we'll have to go on a very quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue on the conversation. So please do stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show. Still with us is Aisha Yesufu, a human rights advocate and an advocate for good governance. She's been discussing how young Nigerians can effectively seize the opportunity of engaging in politics. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Aisha. Now, when you look at the 2019 general election, which was marred by controversy, compounded with, security challenges, these issues stymied enthusiasm and threatened, as you know, to destabilize participation among the youth. Now, would you agree that it stems from this political parties' culture of impunity and all of that? Now, you're advocating for People's Convention. What should we be looking at as regards to this People's Convention, and will there be parties formed? And if so, what role will these parties play in preserving and, advancing the country's democracy?
On the issue of the People's Convention, what the people should be doing is to take responsibility. Right now, the people have given up their responsibility. And so because you don't want to spend money, you're waiting for candidates to spend their own money, you would rather sit on the side and allow them to dictate everything the parties do, all they want to do. When we're talking about this People's Convention, is to get the power back to the people, because the government derives its power from the people. It's the people that vote in candidates into offices. And so also the responsibility comes with a lot of weight. Right? So we have to spend our own money. It's not money from anyone. Every one of us, like I said earlier, we must put our monies where our votes are. Your 1 naira is important, your 10 naira is important, your 100 naira is important, your 1 million is important, your 10 million is important, your 100 million is important. And so every one of us, we must come together and bring this monies together that we're going to use, if we're going to use it for our candidates that we want. So the other thing also is now to begin to look at, instead of being a bystander, it's very easy to be a cynic. It's very easy to say things would work. Because when you say things would work, then there is no responsibility on you to do something to make it work. So that's why a lot of people go to that excuse. Oh, Nigeria will never work. Oh, this will happen. Oh, that will happen. So because they know in saying that, they won't do anything. But for those of us who believe that, yes, Nigeria can work, and we can make it work, but all we need to do is to put in the hard work, and so we'll be ready to do. So if you have that mindset, you will come from the part of being responsible. You'll be ready to put in your time, you'll be ready to put in your money, you'll be able to put everything on the line, your health, your everything on the line, to ensure that we get that country and we begin to work towards it. So the first thing is for people to begin to understand that the power comes from them, and look around it to say, who are the people that we feel that can represent us and represent us very well. And if they go there, they do not represent, not that because you voted for somebody, you know, hold the person accountable. No, we're voting them there. The moment we are voting them, we are putting the fire to their feet and we're holding them accountable. And if they do not do well, we will not enable failure. We will bring them back. We will not reward bad behavior. We will not reward failure. We will vote them out wherever election. That's why every 4 years I say to Nigeria, you have your opportunity of miracle. But it's not for you to waste those 4 years to not vote, either not vote or vote for the people who you know cannot serve you, but because you feel that they are the ones that you think would win, and then you vote for them, and then you begin to, after that, you begin to pray. I mean, God will not do for us what he has given us the capacity to do for ourselves. So every 4 years we have this opportunity. So the thing is all about the people understanding within their own set, right from the ward, right from the local government, state level, who are the people up to the gubernatorial, presidential, who are the people that you think are most deserving of your vote, that care for you, that will be there for you. Forget first of all the issue of who you think would win, because at the end of the day, it's one person that always will win, others would lose. So first of all the people on their side should look for the best candidate that we can get. We must get to a place where we're being spoiled by amazing candidates, and then when we get these candidates, we now say that's where the parties will come in. We say to the parties, these are the candidates we want. as citizens of Nigeria. These are the candidates who are as people of so and so place. And are you giving them the tickets or not? And we should be able to stand with them and say, if you don't give them the tickets, wherever they go to, that's whoever gives them the ticket, that's what we'll vote for them. And the day Nigeria are able to get that shift, it is because everything is about incentive. If you do not give somebody incentive to behave in a good way, they won't. If you give somebody incentive to behave in a bad way, they will. It's, for example, many people say that, oh, in Nigeria, some people will jump queue, they will not do anything. They come to airport, they will be. But the moment they travel out of Nigeria, they align. Even if they spend 10 years out of Nigeria, the moment they are coming back, there's a Nigerian factory setting at the airport, they get it back because of the anyhowness, as we call it in Nigeria. Because there's no incentive. There's no consequences for bad behavior. You give them incentive for them to behave badly. So by the time the parties realize that there is a punishment that happens if you don't feel the best candidate, that the people know are the best candidate, that this is what will happen, their own self-preservation, their own wanting to win will force them to give us those competent candidates, so that we should be having a discussion. I would have loved to be here discussing about, competent candidates, this one, you're almost spoiled for choice because of the kind of candidates, not the one that you have people who you can't even, incompetence is the first word that you're thinking about when you're thinking about all of them. It doesn't make sense. We deserve better, and we should dare for better. And the only way we should value ourselves as citizens, for them also to value us the way we should be valued.
I'd like you to draw me a map. You said first and foremost, people need to understand the power that they have when it comes to politics and voting. So if I, Adefemi, I understand the power I have as a member of the electorate, what's the next step? Because you talked many times about putting your money where your mouth is. Tell me, how does that happen? How do I do it? How does an informed person make the best decision when it comes to the politics that govern them? Draw me a map. I first acknowledge that I have a political power. My vote matters. What's the next thing I should do?
Okay, so the first thing that you should understand is that politics is not a love affair. Keep your emotions aside. Politics is about pragmatism. Politics is about what are the end goals, and that you cannot do it alone. So you don't have to like anybody to work together. You don't have to, doesn't have to be from your place, you're the same religion. You don't even have to like each other. All you need to do is that you have a common goal, you're going to work from it, right? So you begin to form alliance. You begin to work with other people. You begin to meet with other people. In your ward, who are you going to have? Who is that councillor that wants to go this thing? Who do you think? Who can we meet? Who are we seeing? Who are we talking to? You begin to form that alliance, both as individuals and as organization, and you begin to form that like a caucus going around. So by the time you begin to be active, that's where, for me, the active citizen, when people talk about activists, I don't like that. Be an active citizen. Don't sit in the house and complain. Start going out out there to say, okay, what are the things? What are people doing? For example, we're trying to come up with something, which is to say that let's find a place where all of us can meet, up from the bottom to the top, all across Nigeria. Let's have sort of like a block where we have a voice, and we're saying that this is what we can do. These are the candidates that we're going to have, and hopefully soon we probably will have something like that out there by the next week or something like that. You might be inviting me here to talk more about that, so that people will have a platform. And I totally agree with you. Most times now people want to do something, and that's the call you have. Oh, what are we going to do? Oh, this thing, like you said, which is perfectly. What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? We don't know where to go to, which is right. Many people want to do something, but they really do not know where to go to. But hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll begin to have, because we have a lot of organizations now coming out and doing a whole lot of things. So people will be able to say, this is where you can meet people, that you can have the same conversation. But I always say to somebody, anybody can start something. Start the conversation from your place. Join the people who are having the conversation. Let's have all of these structures across. Let's have a place where we have a voice across Nigeria. We're keeping things aside, but we're ensuring that we're bringing out these candidates that we want.
Okay, Aisha, let me remind you of something that happened just before the 2019 presidential elections. You recall that there were a number of fresh faces, those who the youth thought were kind of acceptable to them. There was Kingsley Moghalu, there was Fela Durotoye, there was Omoyele Sowore. At a stage before the elections, there was a call that rather than, all of them running against each other, there was a call that they should have among themselves like a consensus candidate to form what was called a Pact, P-A-C-T. But of course, what happened. They couldn't agree among, each other. Omoyele Sowore even said that it was not democratic and that he was not going to step down for Fela Durotoye. I'm not saying that those are the models for the sort of competent leadership that you are advocating. But then, going towards 2023, if fresh, possibly acceptable faces like those ones that I mentioned crop up again, and they are not able to say, let one of us, let one who represent, competence, go out of maybe 5, maybe 10 that we may have. Don't you think that, they'll be working against each other, and at the end of the day, is the incompetent, is the old guards that we do not want, that the youths do not want, that will end up, snatching the presidency again. So what would be your advice for the kind of a thing that happened in 2019 not to repeat itself in 2023?
Okay, so before I answer that question, I will also say there was Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, the presidential candidate of 2019. I was part of our campaign team. So having said that, I will also say that excuses are like shoes, and you always find the one that fits. And if you want to make excuses for anything, there is no how that you not find one excuse or the other way that will fit in. There is always something. It's either this, it's either that when you really don't want to do it. We put the youth on the pedestal, and then the older generation, which I'm part of, we just anyhow, they can do anyhow. There are certain politicians in Nigeria, they can do anything and anyhow. Nobody cares. But then there are some, you are supposed this, in a way. Why I'm saying this is the fact that I'm looking at it, if people are saying that that's the reason why they didn't vote for those candidates, how many of this older generation come together and say, all of them now come down and say it's one person? It's at the end of the day we're in their party. Some of them actually even leave parties. That's why you see them always moving. But that's not taking on. So we must not focus on these issues. Most of those people who ran in 2019, that was their first time of running, if I'm not mistaken. So the president we have today that is giving us disastrous leadership, and I mentioned this, and Arise says they have nothing to do. I'm a guest and I have my mouth, and I'm a Nigerian and I have right to my speech. If NBC have issue, they know where my house is. I'm in Abuja here. The disastrous leadership we are getting from this president today, he took 12 years. From 2003, if I'm not mistaken, 1999, the rest of 2003, 2007, 2012, he kept running, he kept losing. In 2015, I think, a presidential spokesperson, Doyo Okupe, called him serial loser. He kept running. So this thing of, somebody has run, doesn't mean that, because you didn't win and stuff like that, then it's like a minus or them. They came, they couldn't come together. That's not the reason. The reason why none of them won was because Nigerians were not bold enough. They were not courageous enough to be able to say, look, we know a candidate who has everything that and we are going to go there and do everything we can to make it happen. We are used to shortcut in this country, which is, the microwave mentality. You put something in and it's out. If you're on a queue, you don't want to join the queue, you give somebody 500 naira, you jump. Or you want to do, for those of you that, or those of us that do the right, you want to follow process, they'll say, you are too difficult, this is not Nigeria and all of that. So it's that mentality we also want to bring to nation building. It's not possible. You can't have that in nation building. Nation building is grit, sacrifice, and hard work. People have to put in the work. So if Nigerians had decided then that, look, we are going to vote, the vote would have come. How many people voted? How many people didn't vote? Say the numbers that decided that they were not going to do anything. And that's the voters' apathy that was talked about earlier. So the issue is not the candidates, whether they come together. If they had come together, there would still have been a story. There would still have been another excuse. This is their first time of coming, or they are this, or they are another. I don't think the issue of them not coming together was the main thing, was the reason why Nigerians did not vote for them. The reason why Nigerians did not vote for them is that Nigerians do not think they deserve better. We must understand that there is something about, a victim. when you are in an abusive relationship, and that's what Nigerians are with their government. Nigerians are in an abusive relationship with their government. When you've been abused so much, and you've been tormented, and you've been told that you're worthless, and your self-worth and self-esteem has been taken away from you, you have no value for yourself. So you don't even believe that you are deserving of anything good. That's why the reason why when Nigerians find competent people who come, who are either running for office or fighting for them or doing one thing, they are suspicious, because they are used to being treated badly, so that they're suspicious of anybody or anything that treats them well or treats them with respect or tell them that they are worthy of something. And so that's the issue of being in an abusive relationship. It's going to take time. And that's why, you know what, at the beginning of this thing, I said, when you ask me what is that thing that we need, it's a shift of mindset. When people realize that they are deserving of good leaders, it's not, you don't have to endorse lesser evil. You can get from the good from the best, choose from the best of the best. Then there will be that shift. Going forward, I must say, one of the things I'll take from that question is that people must understand that, especially those who want to serve, that leadership is about service. For anybody who is running for election, I've said this thing before, and if I was ever running for election, that's the mindset I'm going to come with. You're not running, it's not to say that I'm running to win, I must win. Because people look at it, 4 years is already done, 2019 is 2023. It's not about running for election means I'm saying to the people, I'm ready to serve you. Do you want me to serve you? If they want you to serve you, they will vote for you. If they don't want you to serve you, they won't vote for you. No wahala. Next time, come out again, you are in their face. I'm still here, I'm ready to serve. Do you want me to serve you? It goes on like that. But when people come for oh, I need to win, I need to win. And for me, that's why, and on this is in a personal level, where I feel sometimes the fact that we have too much money, especially in our legislative arm of government, I think it just throws away a lot of people who, there are people who, if it's pro bono, that let's say legislative business was a pro bono business or very small amount of money, you will find out that not many people will be dying to go there, because it is work. I know what it is. When it's time to sacrifice, when it's time to get people to work, it's so difficult for you to get people to come and volunteer and work where there's no money attached to it. It's the most difficult thing that you can imagine. You're having to pursue people here, there, even to something as simple as read the minutes of the agenda, do this, go through, we just need your input. Can we have, you don't get it. But when it is politics, you see people running for it. You see people running for it, and that says a whole lot.
Just because we are pressed for time, we have this. I just have this final question, if you can answer briefly. Now, you are an avid user of Twitter, and you have used the platform judiciously in your quest for good governance. Now, you said that you will not allow what you call incompetent government set the agenda for your discussions, and you're not willing to, discuss lifting of the ban. That means you assume that the lifting of the ban was politically motivated. Well, as you know, the political season draws near, how can the platform be used to set the agenda like you have done in advancing the country's democracy?
Well, for those of us that have been on Twitter all this while, I say to you guys, well done. Nigeria is our country. I will never allow anyone, no incompetent government, no president who has put out a genocidal tweet that ended up with his tweet being taken down will come and say that we shot something, we dictate what we are going to talk about. I will say to Nigerians, it's a platform, it's a huge power, it's voice, and we must use it responsibly. And the most important thing is that we must focus on the things that we must not behave like the government. And I will say this again, and I repeat, I'm saying it as Aisha Yesufu, the greatest purveyor of fake news on social media is actually the Nigerian government. It's not the Nigerian people. If there's anyone who uses social media most irresponsibly, is the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and we should be putting the hit on the government and not on the people. And for every one of us to say, let us believe that we are deserving of good leadership, and let us not be afraid, let us go for it, and at the end of the day, we'll know that we have done something, not just for ourselves, but for Nigerians that will be born 100 years from now. Thank you.
Aisha Yesufu, thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's been a pleasure.